10 of the stupidest fails in NBA history. Hey there, are you excited to know some interesting facts about the NBA? Hold on with us. Due to its high level of visibility, the NBA is prone to errors and failures on and off the field. Athletes make mistakes just like coaches, owners, marketers, and officials do. The NBA experiences a variety of errors, some of which go unreported, some of which are no one's fault, and others transcend simple mistakes to qualify as classic failures. Here are 10 of the NBA's biggest blunders in history. But before that, please make sure that you dunk on the subscribe button because you're watching Sportflix, your most loved sports channel. Now these are the craziest dunks you probably forgot in NBA history. Watch it till number 1 and you'll know some of the silliest mistakes ever made. Hello, and thanks for watching Sportflix. Here comes the 10 stupidest fails in the NBA. At number 10, we have Tony Parker's free throw. Tony Parker not only missed the free throw and airballed it, but he also undoubtedly holds the NBA record for the shortest foul shot. He appeared uncertain throughout the free throw, which is perplexing given that nobody attempted to block it. You are aware that you must shoot it. It's absurd that the ball ended up landing just a few feet in front of him. Another baffling play that can only ever be understood by speaking with the player directly, in this case, Tony Parker. The play's author, Tony Parker, is what most people find shocking about it. It's unusual for such an experienced veteran to make such a novice error. Wasn't that mind-boggling? Number 9 is when Nick Young lost control over layup. Although Nick is a spectacular player, on this play he was going up for a layup like he's done countless times before. He received a gorgeous outlet pass from John Wall, leapt without being challenged, and appeared to roll his finger over the backboard, but I'm sure it slid out of his hand. He caught the ball as his momentum sent him out of bounds. Everyone found it amusing, except the Wizards. Unknowingly, the Lakers, a team he would later join, were the opponent. Perhaps to atone? Maybe to get the Lakers players off of him? Most likely not, but it makes you think. Swaggy P is self-assured enough to triumph over this play. At number 8, we have Alexi's backboard shoot. This time, the journeyman Alexei Shved's poor play. He appears to have a typical drive to the basket until he jumps up for a layup that resembles a hook shot and misses by around 20 feet. I'm not sure where he went wrong, but he was in the lane and it appeared he was attempting to give a free ball to a spectator. That play makes absolutely no sense. Thus, that's the only explanation I can think of that makes sense. He might have been attempting to avoid being blocked. You don't need to throw the ball as hard as you can to evade a shot blocker. Who knows? Maybe we should ask Alexei. Number 7 are the Portland Trailblazers. Go no further than Portland for an explanation of why the NBA began to be perceived as a thug league. The Trailblazers were called the Prison Blazers from 2000 to 2003. Bob Whitsitt, the general manager of Portland, put together a team of talented but unstable stars who were more well known for their antics off the court than their success. The Blazers roster included a sex offender charged with marijuana possession. As a result, the club struggled and its devoted fan base began to dwindle. Wasn't that insane? But wait for the next before you make a judgment. At number 6, we have Eddie Curry. A new era for the Chicago Bulls was expected to begin with this player. Curry, selected 4th overall in the 2001 draft, has struggled most of his career. The large man who can't recover is him. This was confirmed by Bulls coach Scott Skiles, who responded with "jump" when asked what Curry needed to do to improve his ability to grab rebounds. Curry relocated to New York, where his albatross contract has strained the Knicks' financial resources and injuries, and a dubious work ethic has constrained his output. Funny it was. Let's see what we have next. Number 5 is the throw-line dunk of JaVale McGee and when Byron Mullins threw a pass off of his teammate's head. JaVale McGee has a reputation for making foolish moves and has appeared on Shaqtin' a Fool a lot. His effort to dunk from the free throw line during a game is one of his most infamous incidents. It's one thing to do in a dunk competition, but it's quite another to try to execute it as the game progresses. He didn't make the dunk. What follows from JaVale? He gives another shot on a person. What gives him the idea that even with a defender in his face, if he can't make it on a fast break, he will be able to make it? He ended up chucking the ball at the hoop both times because he wasn't even near. If McGee had stopped making such stupid errors, he wouldn't be such a horrible player. He can run the floor and is a strong rim protector, but he's not polished enough to make an impact at this level. In 2011 and 12, the Bobcats made many foolish plays, leading to the worst season in NBA history. This play symbolizes the entire Bobcats, and Byron Mullins was no exception. Byron Mullins pulls up as if he's about to shoot during a match against the Heat, but instead he hesitates, fires a laser off his teammate's dome, and the ball goes out of bounds. The teammate had no idea what to expect. It appeared to go into the basket briefly, but it would be too good to be accurate and somewhat tricky to pull off, especially for the Bobcats. At number 4, we have Brandon Knight throwing the ball out of bounds. Brandon Knight may have a recording of career low points that he could watch. Brandon Knight's experienced it all, from getting routinely dunked on to having his ankles shattered by Kyrie Irving in the Rising Stars game. Yet these weren't included because they weren't stupid plays. Knight made one stupid play when he was playing for the Bucks against the Pacers. As Knight leapt into the air, he was unsure whether to pass or shoot, so he just threw the ball out of bounds. He changed his mind 3 times while in midair, giving the impression that he was having a seizure, but the most astonishing thing about Knight is that he keeps playing every night and is exceptionally talented. What do you think about this? Drop a comment below. Number 3 is when Lamar Odom forgets to pass the ball in and the Bulls forgot the inbounder. Despite this frequently happening to players, Lamar Odom has never been penalized for dribbling out of bounds. In reality, it's the exact reverse. He dribbled the ball within the lines of play, which also caused a turnover. What am I referring to here? He was about to pass the ball in when he went out of bounds, but instead he just dribbled it in. The referee put an immediate end to him. He probably realized his error was so obvious and dumb, but we are confident he won't act in that way again. You'll likely only make that error once, we think. We would remember to pass the ball in just for the sake of the shame. Tom Thibodeau could not react other than laughing and brushing it aside. It can be rather humorous when the best players in the world struggle to pass the ball. Looks more appropriate for a middle school game than an NBA match. We're unsure if it was a player's or the coach's fault, yet at some point they ought to have realized that the ball wouldn't be passed in alone. Funny. Let's move forward. Number 2 is when Brian Scalabrine didn't pass to anyone. Brian Scalabrine may have made the worst play in NBA history. He passed the ball away from his teammate and then to the opposing team while the latter was 2 feet before him. He not only missed his teammate, but he also went to the opposing team. Although it appeared to be done intentionally, he was likely just disoriented. Nobody knows why he passed it in the first place, but it seemed absurd. Even better, it resulted in a Trailblazers basket. Who even knows what he was thinking about this play being so embarrassing? Finally, we have the craziest mistake. At number 1, we have Jordan coming out of retirement. When Jordan made his final shot against Utah in the 1998 NBA Finals, it was the perfect way for the most outstanding player to leave. His 6th championship solidified his reputation as the most extraordinary finals performance in the game's history. Jordan, however, was unable to recognize when enough was enough, and 2 years later he rejoined the Washington Wizards. It was like watching that prize fighter lose one too many fights, even though he would go on to play for 2 seasons and put up decent numbers. He didn't have the same step as the other players in the league, and they were ahead of him. The guys that make these stupid moves typically don't last around the league for very long. Sometimes, in fewer instances, the top players are the ones who commit these errors. They can happen to anyone. When they do, they are embarrassing. Even the best of us make mistakes, but are slightly more uncomfortable when they occur in front of thousands of spectators on a court. Subscribe to our channel, Sportflix, to learn more about stories related to sports and players. Thanks for watching.